What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Naruto Was in High School DxD, the second part. Let's try to hit 700 likes if at all possible, and if you guys would love to know when I upload my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button to become a channel member today. Thank you so much for the support on this series. It's really fun to make and just read in general. I really do appreciate everything that's going on. And also, thank you to all my balance breakers, which will be shouted out at the end of the video. So thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. I really do thank you. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the second part. Remember to subscribe to my Aunt Popowski channel and my Fallen DxD channel down in the description below. And let's go. Chapter 3. If you guys don't exactly know what's going on, basically Naruto just intervened in the whole little Riser situation at the first part of the series. Let's continue. Excuse me, I'm afraid you do not belong here at the moment, as this is a private matter. You will be required to leave, came a cold voice of Grafia. Naruto looks at the woman with amusement before looking at Issei Hyodo. Is this the woman you were talking about? He asked. Issei nods his head. Let me show you exactly what I was talking about, he says, taking a step forward. That's all he got before Riser spoke up. Actually, strongest queen, I don't mind him staying. In fact, he's more than welcome. She looks at Naruto once more and nods. Namikaze-san, can you please explain what you're doing here? Asked Rias, looking very upset. Well, I was going to see if Sona-chan wanted to hang out, but I felt a familiar presence nearby, so I came here, he casually says. How can you be friends with this asshole? Asked Issei, frowning. Now, he's not that bad. Don't you see what he's doing? He's forcing her to marry him, he shouts, frustrated. Technically, he had no part in the marriage arrangement. The two families set it up. Now he's just reminding her it's going to happen. Besides, it's not fair to call the guy an asshole. If we're being truthful, Gremory is no better, he says, not caring about the looks he's getting from her barrage. What are you talking about? Came the voice of Kiba. In the past few days that I've been talking to Sona-chan, I've learned a lot, including that they call dibs on potential Parage members, since they both owed part of Ko. The reason you're a part of her Parage now is because she got dibs on you. That means she knew you were going to die and let it happen for the sole purpose of adding you to her Parage. Couldn't that be considered an asshole move on her part? Issei doesn't say anything, because as much as he hates to admit it, it does make some sense. Rias too doesn't say anything, because he was right on all accounts. Naruto and his Parage stand off to the side of the room watching the meeting unfold. There was some yelling and a bit of violence for the next few minutes. You! Riser says, pointing at Issei. You want to be Harem King, don't you? He says before calling his queen over and making out with her while groping her. Naruto just shakes his head. There were some things about Riser that he didn't like. The guy likes to make enemies. Naruto wouldn't turn his back on him just because he's less pleasant habits, though, because whenever he needed him, the Phoenix was there, so he can overlook things like this. Riser-sama, Rias-sama, Lucifer told me that in the event that you two could not work things out peacefully, you could settle it with a rating game, says Grafia. Of course he did, thanks Naruto. Rias is going on about the rating games. Naruto notices Riser making signs with his hands. To anyone else, it would just look like he's stretching his hand out, but Naruto knows. He's giving a message. Naruto nods to him. Well then, Riser, give you 10 days to prepare for our rating game. If you lose, you will become my wife, he says, smirking, heading to his Parage. The Phoenix Clan symbol appears underneath them before they're gone. I will inform your brother of your decision, Rias-sama, says Grafia. She takes one last look at Naruto, who shoots her a frown as they walk into the garden. She leaves soon after. Once everyone was gone, Rias takes a deep breath before standing up. Where are you going? Asked her queen. I need to speak with Sona. Is all she said before she left the room. She sped over to the student council room, hoping to get some answers. She barged in and sat down across from Sona. Seeing that her friend looked a bit distraught, she put down the papers she was working on. Something wrong? She asked. Did you know that Namikaze-san is affiliated with Riser? She asked. That caught the glasses-wearing girl by surprise. No, she did not know about that. No, I did not. He has never mentioned it to me. How did you find out? He showed up while I was talking with Riser about canceling the wedding. Riser called him his best friend? I certainly didn't know anything about that, Rias, so what else happened? We're going to settle it with a rating game. If I win, I'm free. If he wins, I become Rias Phoenix, she says distastefully. Sona knows Rias' chances of winning are slim. Riser has a complete set, while Rias only has 5 members. You realize that not only does he have more experience than you, but he also has a complete set, Sona points out. Yes, but this is the only way I can see that might possibly free me, she says, lowering her head. She knows it's going to be tough, but she has hope. Well, I wish you the best of luck, Rias, she says. It might sound a bit cold, but realistically speaking, Rias has no chance of winning. She watched her friend leave, and the thought came to her. If Naruto hasn't been to the underworld in a long time, how could he be best friends with Riser Phoenix? The Phoenix Estate Underworld. In front of the massive gates that protect the home of Phoenix clan is Riser himself, his Parage behind him. They watch as their master just stands there not moving from his spot. Riser-sama, what are you waiting for? Asked Queen Ubaluna. She didn't have to wait long for an answer as 6 figures walked out of the same black void that appeared at the meeting with the Gremory. Naruto and his Parage stepped out and headed in their direction. Ubaluna, take his Parage on a tour of the estate. If they want anything to make sure they get it. Entertain them. They are special guests, he orders. She doesn't want to have to be told twice. She beckons them to follow her. They all look at their master and see him nod his head. They follow without question. Come, Naruto, says Riser as he walks towards the estate. Naruto catches up to them and sees that they're going in different direction as the others. As they walk through the halls, Naruto makes a comment. Even if you win the rating game, you know Sir Zex is going to interfere, you know. I have a feeling that will be the case. Even my family thinks so, he says, frowning at the thought. I don't think he cares how much shame it will fall upon our family if this wedding doesn't happen. Yeah, and if by chance you still emerge victorious despite his interference, I'm sure Gremory family would despise you. Not only that, but the Lucifer would no doubt try something to make you pay, he says before smirking. Which is why I've got a plan. Riser sees the smirk, raise an eyebrow. Do tell, Lord Phoenix's office. In the office, sitting on the chair near a fireplace, was a man with short blonde hair, 2 bangs in the front of a desk spiked back. He looked to be in his 20s and was wearing a white button-top shirt with gold trimming along its edges and dark coat over it with a medium-sized collar. He is currently head of the Phoenix clan and can father Riser Phoenix and Ravel Phoenix. Next to him is a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Her hair is done up with high ornaments in it. She is wearing a long black strapless dress. She is Lady Phoenix, wife of the head of the clan. Dear, do you know where Riser is at the moment? She asked her husband, taking a sip of the wine as he replies. I believe he went to go visit his fiancée. He should be back any moment now. Lady Phoenix frowns at the thought. You know that's not going to end well. She has been against the marriage since she was informed of it. Not only that, but her family is also starting to have doubts. Lord Phoenix nods his head. I agree. On more than one occasion, Lord Gremory has commented how his daughter keeps looking for a way to break the arrangement. She has no idea what will happen if she does. The Phoenix would look bad if the people found out how far she was going to break it off. They would assume the worst about us. They both turned their attention to the door as they heard a knock. Enter. One of the servants of the clan opened the door and says, My lord, your son has arrived and he's brought a guest, he says. Bring them, he commands. Do you think he brought Rias here to negotiate? Asked his wife. He didn't have the time to answer as the 2 people stepped inside. It was his son as well as someone they hadn't seen in a long time. Good, you're home, says Lady Phoenix. She looked over and sees another blonde. She stands up and walks over to him. Look how much you've grown, Naruto, she says to him as she hugs, which he returns. You were a small child the last time you came here. It's so good to see you again. He just smiles. He had missed them. It's good to see you too, Lady Phoenix, he says before he walks over to her husband. Lord Phoenix, how have you been? He says, shaking the man's hand. I've been well, my boy, just preparing for the wedding, he replies. Well, while we're on the subject of the wedding, I've been talking to Riser about we've come to a solution to a certain problem, he says. He goes on to tell Lord and Lady Phoenix everything he had told Riser. Lord Phoenix sat there mulling over what he'd just been told. The signs were there. If they wanted out so easily, they would get it. This was a good contingency plan. I agree. Should anything happen when you give the ultimatum, he says. Riser nods. While we're on the subject, I think it's time, Naruto says. All 3 other occupants know what Naruto is talking about. It's time for him to make himself public to the underworld. Are you sure, Naruto? Maybe you should wait a bit longer, says Lady Phoenix. I'm positive. My Parage is mostly complete, and the pieces that are unsued I already have candidates to use them on. No one will dare attack, especially not with both my Parage and you all present, he says. He makes a good point. If anyone does try something, so we could say, he's under our protection. We'll say that he never told us about the Rinnegan, as we hardly ever in the estate, says Lord Phoenix. They chat for the next few minutes, talking about what Naruto Naruto has been up to and his Parage is like. This went on for a bit before Riser and Naruto stood up and left the office. On the way to the meetup with Naruto's Parage, Riser asked, "So tell me, what exactly are you doing in Ko anyways?" "Some of them found us," he says. Riser nods. He knows who them are. "We killed them and fled just in case more showed up. We could handle them, but we didn't want to bother." "And what exactly are you going to do now?" "Well, originally, I was planning on going to see Sono-chan after this, but the plan has changed. I'm going to gather my Parage and let them in on the plan," he says. "I'm not surprised you were going to see her. She's exactly your type," he comments. "I do not have a type," Naruto replies. "Well, let's see. There was that Grim Reaper girl, Nano, Issei. Then came Agris Severa, who you managed to date in secret. Now you've got your eyes on Citri Sona. Do you know what all of them have in common?" he asked, waiting for a response. "They all have the same strict attitude and wear glasses," he says smugly. "Whatever. I have to go tell my Parage about the plan," he says. Walking faster, Riser just chuckles slightly. "You're welcome to watch the rating game here in the estate if you wish," he says before he heads in a different direction, knowing Naruto is leaving. The next day, Naruto woke up about 10 in the morning, the sun hitting him directly in the face, making it uncomfortable to lay there any longer. As he does his usual morning stretches to get a day started, he senses someone is home. He walks down the corridor and stops in the front of the blue door. He knocks twice and enters. Hearing a door open, he sees his queen coming out of the restroom, just having finished showering and getting ready. She has long blue hair and matching blue eyes. She's tall and slender. She's wearing a double-breasted general's long-sleeved coat, the top unbuttoned, showing some cleavage. She wears a matching white skirt. She has a blue scarf around her neck and wears thigh-heeled back boots. Her name is Esdeath. "Yes, Naruto-sama?" she asked. "Meet downstairs in the common room. There's a meeting," he says, before heading out. 10 minutes later, everyone gathered waiting for Naruto to speak. "So what's going on?" asked Trish. "We're going to the underworld in a few days," he says. "In 10 days, we will return to the Phoenix State to watch the rating game between Riser and the Gremory. The following day, we will show up to the wedding ceremony where I will reveal the Rinnegan to the entire Devil community." Grimjow let a pharaoh smile appear on his face. Finally, once the devils knew about Naruto, it would grab the attention of a lot of people. He'd finally get to have some fun. "Esdeath, tell me about the potential member you tracked down," he said. "His name is Yakushi Kabuto. He's a human, but he's aware of the supernatural. He's a medic, but he also knows to use offensive spells due to the sacred gear he has. He wouldn't tell me which one," she says. That's fine. After the announcement, we'll go recruit him." "Dismissed," he says. He can't wait to see everyone's faces when they see the Uzumakis aren't extinct. Day of the rating game. Naruto and his Parage were seated in the biggest room of the Phoenix estate along with Lord and Lady Phoenix. The game had started a few minutes ago and it was not looking good for Rias. "The Gremory girl is going to lose," states Esdeath. "She went into this with no experience whatsoever, and to top it off, she's facing someone with a full set." Everyone nods. She is truly desperate to go into battle with odds like that. At first, they were doing well. Issei had taken out a few opponents using the move he called Dress Break. As it sounds, it ripped off clothing, a stupid technique, but it did the job. That accomplishment was outlived when one of their members was taken out of the match due to them being outnumbered. Riser's queen proved to be a difficult opponent as she eliminated Konako, Kiba, and Akano even though she needed to use the Phoenix Tears to heal herself. This left Rias with only Azia and Issei. Ubaluna was going to fight Issei but was stopped by Riser who wanted to end it. He fought Issei and beat him down until Rias was forced to surrender. Riser had won the rating game. "Well, that went a bit differently than we predicted, but the outcome remained the same," stated Donnie. Everyone agreed they were somewhat impressed with how well Rias' Parage did despite being outnumbered. As everyone was preparing to leave, Naruto asked, "Mocha, have any of the bodies been found?" "Unfortunately not. I believe there is no trace of those bodies any longer. They are most likely burned to ashes," he says. "Bummer. I really wanted to use them for my 6 paths technique. Oh well, I'll just have to improvise," he casually says, before they all got teleported home. The next day, the wedding ceremony had commenced. A lot of noble families and some lower-class nobles' families were in attendance to see a unification between Riser Phoenix and Rias Gremory. It was a good day for devil kind. Sona Citri in attendance as well as support for her best friend. She is currently wearing black short sleeveless dress and a gold necklace. She's going around and greeting people as what she is told to do. She had a lot of people coming up to her getting a dance. The whole time she was thinking about a certain blonde. Where was he? If he was best friends with Riser, wouldn't he be here by now? Soon, everyone heard a glass tapped by a spoon and looked up to the balcony of the venue to see Riser Phoenix, who was now wearing a black and white tuxedo. Next to him, his bride-to-be Rias Gremory in an elegant wedding dress. "Thank you all for being here on this wonderful day. Today marks the important day for all devils," he states. His speech is interrupted by a door being blasted open. Issei rushes in and flanked by Konako and Kiba. Riser discreetly looks over at Serzex to see him have a slight smile on his face, so he expected this to happen. Getting back to it, Issei was on time to the plan to start. "How dare you interrupt this wedding?" he yells out. Fire erupts from him. "I'm not letting you marry Rias," he yells with conviction. Before Riser could respond, Serzex walked forward. "Actually, this is special entertainment. The rating game was unsatisfying, to be honest. So how about this? You two fight one-on-one and the winner will get the wish to speak. So speak for me." Naruto was correct after all, Riser thought. Looks like it was time to start the next part of the plan, he thinks to himself, remembering what exactly to do. Flashback. Yeah, and if by chance you still emerge victorious despite his interference, I'm sure that Gremory family would despise you. Not only that, but Lucifer would no doubt try something to make you pay. He says before smirking, which is why I've got a plan. Riser, seeing the smirk, raises an eyebrow. "Do tell. Here's what you're going to do. Once he interferes, you are going to make a proposal. Tell everyone you're willing to drop the wedding. In exchange, she gives up her portion of Ko to the Phoenix family. Apart from that, either you or Ravel can come to Ko as the Phoenix representative, and if Rias wishes to add anyone from the area to her barrage, it must be run by both Sona and the Phoenix family's representatives. She gets her freedom but loses a valuable asset, and the Phoenix gets more influence in the devil community, and your reputation also goes up." The flashback ends. "Actually, Lucifer-sama, I have an alternative," says Riser. Everyone looks at him strangely. "What would this alternative be?" asks Serzex. "I'm willing to drop the whole wedding." This shocks everyone, most prominently the Gremory clan. Riser had gone through all the trouble of getting Rias to marry him only to drop it. What was going on? "But I do have 3 conditions," he continues. "What are they?" asked Rias with a mixture of excitement and a bit of dread. What would he ask for? "You give up your part of Ko territory to me." He holds up one finger. "Ravel will be attending Ko Academy as the representative for the Phoenix family." Another finger. "Finally, if you want to add someone to your barrage, it must be run by both the Citri Hair and Ravel," he says, holding up the final finger. Rias and her family, as well as everyone else in attendance, was shocked. That was a hefty demand. Serzex looked up with a frown on his face. Riser didn't seem fazed when he proposed the idea of one-on-one. In fact, he answered with his rebuttal quite quickly. Could it be that he was prepared for this to happen? "So what do you say, Rias? Your freedom in exchange for my 3 demands, or marry me and we'll get started producing a hair right away?" Rias clenched her fists. If only he had accepted the fight with Issei. There was a chance she could have gotten out of this scot-free. Now she had no choice, lose her portion of Ko or sleep with Riser Phoenix and breed. She hung her head in defeat. "I accept your terms." Sona watched on in shock. Riser had this planned. He was too calm. He didn't let Issei's challenge get to him. He even cut off the Lucifer and shot back with a counter-agreement. It was brilliant. This had to have been thought out in advance. Now she had to share Ko with Ravel Phoenix? "Very well. The marriage between Rias Gremory and Riser Phoenix is annulled," announces Serzex. "Please everyone settle down. And there's still one more announcement," says the Lord Phoenix. "What could this be announcing now?" "It is much pleasure that I introduce some of my very dear to the Phoenix clan. Everyone please greet," he says, with an orange magical circle appears in the center of the room. Rising from the circle, 7 people appear. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto finishes it for him. The Satans, along with the older generation's devils, widen their eyes at the mention of the Uzumaki. They're supposed to have been wiped out. The younger generation devils look on in curiosity, wondering why there's such a big deal for this guy. What everyone is focusing on at the moment is something that they never expected. Looking back at everyone was Naruto with the Rinnegan in full display. "Ha! I think he broke them, Naruto," says Grimmjow, laughing, madly enjoying the look on the people's faces. "Indeed," he says, smirking. That is the end of Chapter 3. No one has said a word. Everyone is looking on in shock. The legendary Rinnegan is staring at them all in the face. The Phoenix family, however, is relishing the facial expressions of everyone present. Even the ever-lively Seraphal Leviathan is looking on with a serious face. Suddenly, one of the older devils stand up. He's an older-looking man from the Glass Alabolas clan. "Guards! Seize them!" he yells. 15 guards immediately pounce to attack the blonde. Off to the side, Sona was getting ready to intervene. They were allies after all. They were stopped, however, by Askin, who already run away to avoid fighting. No need to bother. His Majesty will take care of it easily enough, though he will be happy to know you are about to join him. Naruto turns his head a bit to look at his barrage with one eye. Everyone stay out of it, except for you, Grimjaw. You take half. I know it's not the main course you want, but for now, I think you could stretch a bit, he says. Donnie, do you mind creating a sword for me? He asks. Donnie nods and creates a simple one for him. Grimjaw just shows a wide grin, happy he's going to get to fight. The rest of the barrage moves off to the side to watch the one-sided fight start. The guards are getting closer. As expected, they divided in 2 of 1 for each intruder. The Bleach OST Treachery starts playing. The 6 that went after Naruto were in his personal space already. Naruto stood up and said, "Shinra Tensei." Just as they attacked, they were hit by an invisible wall and were all pushed away. He raised his hand towards one of them and said, "Banso Tien." The guard was pulled towards Naruto by the invisible force, no matter what he tried, and kept being pulled. Once he was close enough, Naruto swung his sword horizontally, slicing the man in half. One of the guards, who had been previously thrown back, attacked Naruto from behind, or at least he tried to. Naruto simply closed his eyes and smirked and moved to the left, allowing the man to pass right by him. The next thing everyone saw was the 3 giant slashes appear on the man's back before he hit the ground dead. Looking to his right, he saw Grimjaw split a guy down the middle. The spectators were shocked by the massacre they were witnessing. The noble clans always made sure to hire top-notch guards in the event of some sort of attack, and this boy and his barbarian servant were cutting them down like nothing. Deciding it was time to get on the offensive rather than letting them come to him, he charged. He moved fast enough that his target was momentarily surprised and was hit with a chakra enhanced kick, breaking 4 ribs. Not letting up, he dodges some blasts from one of the 2 remaining guards before appearing behind him. Naruto slashed the back of his knees, dropping him before breaking his neck. He backflipped and his hand touched the ground. Those paying close attention would have noticed a seal appear on the ground. Naruto just stood there and let the remaining guard charge at him. "Idiot," Naruto says. The man stepped on the seal and could no longer move. Naruto simply walked to the man before raising his blade in a level with his heart. He plunged the blade slowly, allowing the man to suffer before finally piercing the heart, killing the man. He notices the scared look that appeared of the elders as he saw his guards get terminated in less than a minute. "Grimjaw," he calls out, nodding in the man's direction. Said the blue-haired man disappeared from the spot while making a static sound. He reappears in front of the man, then proceeds to stab the man right under the belly button. His hand came out of his back as he was lifted off the floor. He coughs up some blood and looks up to see the shit-eating grin on Grimjaw's face. Said man raises his right arm up to face level before the red sphere appears. "Siro." The red sphere shoots from his palm, creating a ray wide and long enough to consume the man's entire upper body. There was no question. The man was dead. He used Sonato to return to the group. "We're done here," says Naruto, as the orange magic trickle appears under them once again. They did what they intended to do. Now everybody knows that the Uzumakis are not extinct, and the Rinnegan is in his hands. Before they leave, Naruto makes eye contact with Sona. Purple rippled eyes lock with light purple ones before he vanishes. The one thing that went through his mind is she's going to have questions. The next day, Naruto decided to skip school for that day. There was something that he needed to do. It was time to go get Kabuto to join his Parage. Esdeath, having told him where he was, decided just to use the magical circle. Now that he made himself known, there was no need to use the Garnata or the Garganta. He arrived inside the cave. He knew he was someone in the southern Japan, but he didn't think a guy would be in that cave. He walked forward, going deeper into the cave. He noticed that there was some light getting closer. A minute later, he found himself in some sort of laboratory. Hearing a clanking noise, he looked up to his right and saw the only other person inside the cave beside himself, the music Kabuto. This must be Kabuto. He had gray hair, which he tied into a ponytail with 2 bangs framing his face. He wore rim-circular glasses. He wears dark purple high-collar shirt and a white under t-shirt. sleeveless gloves and dark purple pants with blue shoes. This was indeed Kabuto Yakashi. Naruto coughs lightly to get his attention. It works. You must be Naruto, he says. I'm sure you know, but I'll introduce myself anyway. I'm Kabuto Yakashi. Nice to meet you. So I take it my queen spoke to you, he asked. Yes, she told me about this parade you have and I was offered a spot. She said you guys could use a good healer, but I have to wonder, how would I benefit from joining you? I'd be giving up my humanity, you know, he says. You would get stronger, first of all. You'd have devil powers. I could provide you with some test subjects for your studies. I don't even care if you don't call me Master or Naruto-sama, and you don't even have to be at the house. If you want to go off somewhere, that's fine, as long as you show up when called. Finally, you would have a family, he says. He knew the look in Kabuto's eyes, the look of loneliness. Kabuto's eyes widen at the mention of family. This guy was exactly like him. Naruto takes out a pawn chess piece and holds it up. So what do you say? Kabuto remains silent for a minute before he answers. I accept. After performing the reincarnation ritual, Naruto left the cave and gave Kabuto instructions on where he should go if he ever wanted to go to the house. He teleported himself to an alley near a Issei and proceeded to head to the store to buy something specific. Knowing he had to go to school tomorrow and see Sona, who will most likely ask questions, he decided to get her something nice. Looking, though, the Ishlas, he finally found something that he could get, a chess set. It wasn't the best quantity, but he had a plan for that. Paying for it, headed out back to the house to get it customized. Ever since he left the store, he felt someone trailing him and he was getting annoyed. I know you've been following me for a while. Might as well come out, he said. Coming out from the hiding of the side of the building, the man is tall, has black hair and blonde bangs, and a black goatee, a maroon trench coat being held by the waist by two belts, gray pants, and some lighter maroon shoes. The governor of the fallen angels in Gagar. What an unexpected surprise, says Naruto, allowing his eyes to change from blue to the purple-black ringed Rinnegan. So it's true, the legendary eyes are back among us, he says, looking directly at his eyes. Indeed. So tell me, what is it you want? I was actually curious about you. The higher-ups down in the underworld are going crazy. Not only that, but I hear heaven has gotten word of the eyes as well, he says. That's great and all. But what do you want? Naruto asks. Not in the mood for small talk. I'm interested in those eyes. I'm a scientist who likes to research sacred gears. However, those eyes are every scientist's wet dream, he says excitedly. Please tell me why I should allow you to study my eyes. I've never met you, and I'm not part of your faction. Azazel turns serious for a moment, his laid-back attitude replaced with that of a true leader. I can offer you the Gagar's protection. He raised his hand to stop Naruto from talking as well as he was going to interrupt. I know you're strong, and if you know how to truly use those eyes of yours, I wouldn't doubt if you were a super devil. However, even with your strength and your barrage, I don't think you'd be able to take on the entire devil faction if they were to gain up on you, he states. Naruto stays quiet. Sure, he was confident enough to fight all out, along with Sir Sex and Ajuka one-on-one, maybe two-on-one if the other two were not there, but not all four at once. If they were to gang up on him and include every devil in the underworld, he wouldn't survive. He wasn't that good. If he was protected by an entire faction, they'd at least think twice before attacking. What will you do with this information you get? It will be strictly for me, I can guarantee that, he says. Protection will be needed. Even with the Phoenix clan, it wouldn't be enough to stop an all-out attack. Well, I could just drop a meteor and kill us all, but that would be a waste. I'll let him study, but he's only getting what the higher-ups already know. I'll even delay the time between attacks giving away false information and even he turns on me. No way I will show him my secret techniques. I have to keep Rinbo and the others to myself. Very well. I'll allow you to study them for a bit in return for protection from the Gagar. But let's make this clear. I'm not joining the Fallen Angels. We simply have a sort of alliance. Great, he says, his old attitude coming back. I'll see you next week for the first test, he says, before 12 black wings sprout from his back and he takes flight. Naruto shakes his head and proceeds home. He still has to finish Sona's gift. Hopefully, she'll ease up on him if she likes it. Once he was home, he went to look for Esdeath. He found her in the backyard sparring with Askin. If you call it that, she was shooting ice at him while he ran. Esdeath, he called. She stopped on her onslaught and approached him. Yes, I need you to help me out with something. I need you to use your ice powers to make this the best looking chess set anyone's ever seen. Oh, and add Sona's name on the chessboard, he orders happily. You want me to use my powers on something like that, she asked, raising an eyebrow. His eyes narrowing was the only answer she got. Fine, she says before she touches the set, and it starts freezing, making it look really nice. She adds the Citri name as instructed and removed her hand. There, it won't ever melt either, she says, getting back to attacking Askin. Thanks, he says, heading up to his room. The next day, lunchtime at school was something Naruto usually enjoyed. Today, however, was different. He knew he'd be interrogated to some degree. He heads to the student council room with his gift in his hand. He had to make sure to wrap it with some gift wrap, and he found it at a small store. When he found her near, she was at her desk doing paperwork. She notices him and continues doing her work. He looks over to where they usually play and notices the board is there. He reaches over and puts it somewhere else and sits down. Hello, Sona-chan, he greets. She stares at him blankly. Come over here, Sona-chan, I've got something for you, he says, motioning to the gift on the table. She heads over and sits down across from him and continues to stare. He sighs. He knows she won't do anything until he talks. Go ahead. What was that whole fiasco about the wedding? At the wedding about, she asked. I was sending a message. She stays quiet for a moment before remembering something. The whole thing with Riser calling off the wedding was eating at her. Did you have something to do with what happened to Ria? She asked. If you mean I was the one who granted her freedom, then yes. That's not what I meant. Were you the one who came up with the idea for Rias losing her portion of the co-territory? She asked, clearly getting upset. Yes. Why? She asked. If she wasn't yet upset, she was now. Let me ask you something, Sona. He stared, not even adding at the sufficient suffix. If your parents were to have you be married and told you if you could accomplish a specific task you'd be free, would you do it? She nods. Now let's say once you complete it, your parents tell you that you have to do one more task because they weren't satisfied enough with how you completed it. What would you think? She doesn't hesitate to answer. That is unfair. Exactly. Sir Zex proposed the rating game. It was simple. She wins, she's free. He wins, and she becomes his wife. Riser won that game fairly, but Sir Zex wasn't amused enough, so he abused his power to add another form to Rias to break the engagement, he states. That wasn't fair. He was trying to make Riser lose at any cost. I anticipated this. If she wanted out so bad, she would have to lose something rather than get everything she wants because she's the sister of Lucifer, he says, frowning. Sona stays quiet. She knows that he's right. It was favoritism on the Satan's part. As much as she hates to admit it, it's everything he's saying is dead on. Naruto stands up and heads to the door, leaving the present on the table. I'm going home. If you want to know anything else, just go to my house, he says, leaving her direction on a piece of paper. Only come once you've calmed down and can think rationally. With that, he was gone. Sona sat there in the same spot. She looked at the rat box and opened it. She was surprised to find the beautiful chess set that she'd ever seen. It even had her name in the center. She felt bad. She got upset at someone who was only making sure his friend wasn't getting cheated, even if his friend was an asshole. She had gotten mad at her ally, but the person who considered her to be a fun person and genuinely seemed to like her for her. In the moment of anger, she didn't even get to ask him about his true name or his eyes. She'd have to talk to him again. Back in the underworld, in the Phoenix estate, Riser was walking towards his younger sister's room. It was time for her to head to Ko to represent the Phoenix as agreed upon by Lucifer. He knocks twice on the door before walking in anyways. Inside the room, he sees his sister glaring at him. She's a short girl with blonde hair and twin pigtails with drill-looking curls. They held together by some red band. She's wearing a pink dress with bright frills and a pink bow in front. What was the point of knocking if you were just going to barge in anyway? She says angrily. It's time for you to go to Ko and assume your role as the representative, he says. What? Why now? I don't want to go yet, she says, turning her back on him. Significantly, that conversation was over. Normally, he hates when she gets into one of her moods. He could always just force her to do it, but she'd been in a bad mood and do things half-assed. This time is different, however. Very well, do whatever you want. I'll just tell Naruto you were too busy to be bothered about your part in his plan, he says, turning around, a smirk adorning his face. He counted down in his head before. Wait, there it is. I'm going, but not because you told me to or anything, she said stubbornly. He knew about her secret crush on his fellow blonde. Mention him and you could talk her into doing anything easily. Good. Be ready by today. Remember, before you decide on anything while over there, run it by him first. If he tells you to do something, do it. So, basically a sphere of influence, she asked? He nods. It made him sense. She hadn't made any big decisions before. In the eyes of the public, it's Ravel controlling Ko, but behind the scenes, it's Naruto giving her directions. Now, we're at Ko. So this is So this is the place Zenobia-chan asked a white robe-wearing girl. Yeah, this is the place. Not only is our target somewhere in the city, but I've been told that Donnie has seen here recently as well, Zenobia says. Why did you do it, Donnie? She thinks to himself. And that is the end of chapter 4. And that is where we're going to stop for now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this series. I might upload this part on October 30th, which is where I'm recording it, or it will come out the 31st for our little Halloween special. But I don't know, bro. I'm back in the booth and I'm feeling kind of good right now. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to keep recording. Now, the videos, again, are going to be short this week. I have testing week. This is testing week. So I got testing for track and school at the same time. So I'll be gone for probably like 4 or 5 days. Whenever I have time to record, I definitely will. So maybe another video will come out as soon as that. But what if Goku was in high school? DxD is being highly requested a lot. And what if Goku was the God of Destruction? The movie will be coming to this channel, FYI. I have about at least an hour and 40 minutes of that series actually done, which is kind of cool to think about. So yeah, like just be expecting that. And what if Goku was in high school? DxD is also coming. What if Issei was betrayed? What if Issei was betrayed and became OP and neglected, or whatever the series was called? My bad. I even forgot myself. Will also be returning with another episode that I am recording currently. So yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. This is part 2, and let me go ahead and thank my balance breakers: Rob the King, Asimodus, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Aunt Lewis, Night Ammo, Joe Baldwin, Frostbite 0524, Refeek 135, Zapper 363, Keep Saying 21, Luis Bermudos, $5 Sake Sake, Viewerwolf hashtag 2347, Night Ammo, Zeki 2000, Seth Voiles, The PS Gamer, XRX108, Jacob Kamez, Jordan Patchow, Mazaku, Dr. _MLG _ is the bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, That Round Guy, Zero Fusion, Source Spawner, and Chaotic Raven. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. Seriously, I can't thank you guys enough. And if you want to join Limit Breaker, it is only $2.99, and it even is discounted for the first member that you join. So that'd be absolutely amazing if you joined up, because then you'll know exactly when I upload for just like $3. So that's pretty cool. So thank you so much for the support, guys. Like, I seriously can't thank you enough. What if Naruto was in high school? DxD is always fun to read these types of series. I would have made this one myself, but unfortunately I do not have time, or as much time as I did in the summer. So just expect like some over winter break is where I can really make the content like pack, you know what I mean? And that's just going to be really, really fun. I'll be back on some crazy shit too. So thank you guys so much for the support. Go subscribe to my second channels, and Popowski and Fallen DxD, down in the description below. Seriously. And once again, thank you to all my balance breakers and limit breakers. I think I have 55 total channel members at this point, and about 32 of them are limit breakers, or 33. So that's really cool to think about. I cannot thank you guys enough. Like, seriously, you guys are truly the homies. I'm not going to lie. Your boy's finally getting a little better. So hopefully I win the day with this one, you know. Thank you guys so much for all the support. And without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.